So if this situation can be healed from, can it be salvaged? Is it worth salvaging? Whether or not there's enough love and that strong emotional connection that can be, I guess, like that still exists in this relationship. Is it worth salvaging? We have here the Temperance card, and the Temperance card indicates to me that something is really like tinkering on the balance. Okay, it's like a situation that needs to be approached with kitty gloves, needs to be kind of like balanced out. And without the temperance, without the patience and the love and the nurturing, I feel like it can go astray. So I do see this might be kind of like a turning point in this relationship. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, which indicates to me that both parties might be putting very little effort in this relationship because they don't see the longevity in it anymore. There might also be a lot of arguments over spending, a lot of arguments over finances, over spending, over, who's contributing what in this relationship. Okay. There might have been one person who's creating, who's generating the money, and then the other person is like the spender. So I definitely feel a situation where things are not balanced, where finances and talks about finances get very hazy and very fuzzy, where somebody is not forthright and truthful with you as to, how much money they have squared away. And then I also feel with this combination with the Temperance card and the Page of Pentacles card, unfortunately, I just keep seeing as if somebody might be flirting, giving their pentacles away, giving their time and their energy elsewhere. Okay. So I need you to just be a little bit careful about that. Once again, this is not news to you. If your hunches, if your intuition has been telling you these things, I feel like you're getting some type of confirmation, because somebody is like, I'm seeing somebody checking their iPhone, and then as soon as other people come by, like it could be anybody, they kind of close out their browser. That's what it feels like to me. Like somebody's doing something they're not supposed to, and there's a lot of excuses. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of like, it's like outmaneuvering, not being able to corner someone, outmaneuvering someone who's very slippery and sly, and it's not a good energy for you to be in. Okay. What I do see here is I feel like a lot of you you're hanging on to. Okay. And let me just shift this way here, because I mentioned that the reading is kind of split up. This is one issue that you're dealing with. Here's another thing that you're dealing with. For those of you who have ever read that book, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, it's like a high school reading type of a book. So basically, it's about this woman, and this is like back in the days. She committed adultery, and she got found out, and she lives in this very small community. And so her punishment at the time was they sew a giant letter A for adultery, and they force her to wear it on her chest so that everyone in the community can see. So it's sort of like, a shaming mechanism to get people to behave the right way. And they did this because they found out she is not married, but she's pregnant. So they put an A on her chest, and she has to walk around with it. And then I think occasionally every week or so, she has to come to the town square, and then she has to subject herself to like the stocks, the gallows, where you put your head and your hand into this thing, and you're stuck there for a certain amount of time. And then at the end of the day, she goes back home. So it's like a public shaming, or some type of a shaming mechanism. Where was I going with this? Okay, so that's the premise of the story. What I'm seeing is a little bit different, but I do see, and in the book, the letter, it starts to burn. Okay. Like it takes on a life of its own. It's something that can, like physically is only a piece of cloth, but over time it becomes like it takes on a life of its own. It becomes very burdensome. Okay. So that's where I'm getting at, because what I'm feeling here is, that sense of social pressure, social, like, it's like the social expectations forcing us to behave a certain way. We don't want to behave that way, but we do it because social obligation, family obligation, things that are expected of us. Not wanting to be shamed, not wanting to be ostracized, not wanting to do anything to upset the apple cart, to do anything to kind of like, to not wanting to do anything to set ourselves apart from the crowd. Okay. So I feel like there's something here about conformity. Doing something because it's expected of you, not because you want to. And then over time, it becomes a very huge burden on you. I have here the Hierophant, which is about, order, tradition, doing things by the book, wanting to, be straight-laced. Like the social pressure the social pressure is so prominent that you would do anything to kind of like succumb to it. Okay. And then over time, it becomes here the Ten of Wands, which is a very, very big burden for you to bear. And that's what I was seeing with that Scarlet Letter. It becomes a controlling mechanism. It becomes sort of like its own entity, where physically it's just a piece of cloth, but it has the social stigma. It has like all of these things. So honestly, for some of you, I feel here about, shame, or feeling this sense of like, I don't want to get a divorce because, it's shameful. It's shameful to my household. It's shameful to my family. What are people going to say? What am I going to tell people? Well, it doesn't matter. Okay. You have to weigh out the option. Is it better for me to be free? Am I going to be happier? Or will I be happier with this relationship that's kind of like at a dead end? So I feel like there's this sense of social expectation or stigma that you're not willing to face, and it's keeping you stuck in a situation that you're not happy with. And then I also feel like, some of you are thinking about the children, the social stigma with the children. What are they going to tell their friends? What are they going to tell their peers? So like these decisions that you're grappling with, I feel like these are personal choices. These are personal issues that really should not involve anybody else. But I feel like you're not making this decision in a vacuum. You're thinking, expanding further and further. What's my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? What's the greater society going to think? And honestly, their inputs don't really matter, okay, at the end of the day. Because what I always believe is that people are really self-absorbed by nature. If it doesn't really involve them, they don't really give it the time of day, okay? So they might be sad that like, oh, you're getting divorced, what's going on? Tell me about it. And then out of sight, out of mind. Okay. And it has nothing to do with just being, self-centered. It has nothing to do with that. But it's just like in our minds, a lot of the times things become a lot bigger than they are because it involves us. We're at the epicenter of it, right? But the other person is not. So then it's going to be out of sight, out of mind. So you need to make this decision and do what's best for you and drown out the noise and drown out the stigma, drown out whatever is associated with it. Okay. Because I feel like it's preventing you from making a really big decision that would be so much better for you. And then I'm also feeling as well, there is a situation where you or somebody that you're dealing with is holding on to it very, very tightly. Okay. It's like pinching at something, grasping and clutching something and not willing to let it go. For some of you, this could be like an ideology. For others, this could be like a relationship partner. And I keep seeing this, you know, romanticized vision of what a relationship is. Like, you know, like the partner does this and then I do this and then, you know, we'll live happily ever after. And I feel like that notion of like what each person is supposed to do might have been thwarted, might have been shattered because the other person is not contributing to it. Okay. The other person is doing their part, but they're not contributing to your ideal version of what they're supposed to do. So I feel like there's a mismatch here in expectations. And as a result of it, you feel a little bit like shortchanged by this person. It's like, I didn't sign up for this, you know, things like that. And then I also feel like, I'm seeing someone who is really, really stubborn, who wants to have their way, who refuses to budge, who refuses to compromise. And I feel like this feedback loop between the two of you, where it's like, you refuse to compromise here, so I'm refusing to compromise here. Tit for tat. Okay? And it's showing up here. We have here the High Priestess clutching to something, even though we know better. And then this Five of Swords, you know, the clucking, the mindless arguments and the banter and the situation that really doesn't add anything to an existing conflict. So that's what I'm seeing here. And I apologize, Cancers, that the reading is this way. You have some really good cards that are coming here, so bear with me. What I'm seeing as well is one of the things that can, you know, really help us kind of like loosen up and focus more on the solution rather than the problem. For some of you, you might be dealing with somebody that exhibits all of these symptoms I told you about. And it's really frustrating because you want to compromise. You're the peacemaker. You're the lover. You're the nurturer, right? So you're encountering opposition from this person. And it's becoming very, very difficult. And so I feel like you have to detach yourself a little bit. And what exactly does that mean? Well, what it means for a water sign when you detach is, you know, not get emotionally riled up with this person. Not become emotionally affected. Whatever they do, don't let it emotionally affect you. So rationalize, I guess, like their actions, okay? Like tell yourself, oh, they do this with everybody. It's not just me that they behave this way with. And honest to God, it's not just you that they are this way with. They're like this with everybody. They might have a habit of sabotaging their significant relationships, you know, their family relationships, their deep friendships. You might want to think about, you know, look at this person. Do they have a close group of friends that they confide in? Do they take time for their family? I feel like the answer is no. I feel like you're dealing with someone who's like me, and who might also not have these emotional connections with other people. And so everything that they're doing is not personal. It's not personal, okay? And then on the other hand, I also feel like a situation where both people argue because they want to be right. I also see somebody who's a little bit shifty when it comes to swirling away their assets, hiding their money, not wanting to give somebody a dime, not wanting to, you know, to suffer the financial losses in the case of a separation, for example. They're paranoid. They're operating from a space of lack. So you might have to understand, you know, all the things that they've been through that have made them like this. So I feel like, you know, they might be just a product of their environment. So don't take things personally, okay? And I know it's easier said than done, but I feel like it's a situation where it doesn't bring you any peace of mind if you continue to dwell on this and if you continue to get yourself emotionally wrapped up or worked up in this situation, okay? Because I feel like the burden is heavy. And then I also feel like you're dealing with someone who's shifty. Okay, it's like that see-through, if I don't know if you can see that see-through sword, hiding behind the sword, um, hiding behind their intellect, hiding behind their reason. Like it's like they have a reason for everything. You know, they rationalize everything wrong that they do. They rationalize, they justify. So you can never corner this person, and it is what it is. You know, you're coming to the realization that they're slippery and evasive, and the more you feed into it, the more it's going to upset you personally. And I do feel it's somebody who is itching for a fight, for an argument. They're very good at it. They're very argumentative. They're very intelligent and very smart. And they know how to outmaneuver everybody, not just you. So don't take this personally, okay? Try to get yourself in a calmer state, because I feel like you feel that you can't move on because you don't have all the answers that you need. But I feel like just the nature of this person is all the answers that you need. Does that make sense? A lot of the times, you know, we think about, let's just say, let's say you were on and off, and this is like one of my favorite examples. Let's say you were on and off with a person, right? And the main problem in the relationship was they're flirtatious, and they always, you know, you don't know whether or not they cheated, okay? But you were constantly on and off. There were months when you guys were officially off, and you saw other people, they saw other people, but you know, you never like got intimate with the other people you saw. And so I feel like you might have found out some information that they might have been dating, they might have been with somebody else, and you're trying to piece together the timeline